Welcome back, students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST June. Students, in our previous video, we have studied a struggle for equality with the help of different chapters. Even we have studied what the rules and regulation were found by the government to make the equality for all the people. So today we are going to discuss about one struggle for the equality and the rights which has been given by the democratic government. So it is the story of the Tawa Matsya Sangh. Students, because this topic is under a story form, so today we will go through the book where I will explain to you the struggle of the Tawa Matsya Sangh. So let's start. So student, it is the story of Tawa Matsya Sangh. Not only the story of Tawa Matsya Sangh, it is the story of all the people those are discriminated by the mainstream society. So when dams are built or forest areas declared sanctuaries for animal, thousands of people are displaced. Students, when government decided to conserve the forest, so the people those were living in the forest and whose economy was only depend on the forest by the hunting, gathering and collecting firewood from the forest, they were displaced, or we can say they were homeless because their forest was grabbed from them. Whole villages are uprooted and people are forced to go and build new homes, start new lives elsewhere. Most of these people are poor in urban areas too. Bastis in which poor people live are often uprooted. Some of them are relocated to areas outside the city. Means in some cases the government has given help them and they were displaced from their areas and were situated in the fixed area which was out of the city. So not only from the villagers, the people those were living in the urban areas, but they were based upon the nature, they were also displaced by the government. Then their work as well as their children's schooling is severely disrupted because of the distance from the outskirts of the city to these locations. As earlier in the previous location, their wards were studying in a school. So when they were dislocated from that location, so the schools were very far, so study was also affected of that people. This displacement of people and communities is a problem that has become quite widespread in our country. Means students, whether the dams are forming, the forests are conserving and many more things. The people those are living nearby these areas, they always displaced from that place. But the government has not fixed a proper place for those peoples. So they always have to survive from the different kind of problems and the problems never shut out. People usually come together to fight against this. So when the people have seen they are having some fundamental rights but they are not getting any facility from government, so they came together because of their awareness and they formed many type of groups, cooperative society, unions and Sangh. There are several organizations across the country fighting for the rights of the displaced. In this chapter, we will read about the Tawa Matsya Sangh, a federation of fish workers cooperative, an organization fighting for the rights of the displaced forest dwellers of the Satpura forest in Madhya Pradesh. So students, the Tawa Matsya Sangh is the story of the people, those are the dwellers of the area Chhindwara, which is situated in Madhya Pradesh. So Chhindwara district is the area where the Tawa river flows, and the people were displaced from that area because there were a lots of stories Like earlier, that area was given to the big business persons, but after the protest of the Tawa Matsya Sangh, which was a cooperative of the fish worker, then again it was provided to the local dwellers. So now let's see what is the story of Tawa Matsya Sangh. Organization in Mahadev Hills of Chhindwara district. The Tawa flows through Betul before joining the Narmada in Hoshangabad. The Tawa Dam began to be built in 1958 and was completed in 1978 within 20 years. It submerged large area of forest and agricultural land. The forest dwellers, the people, those were living in a mansion, or we can say a particular place, or we can say those were inhabited on the area, the nearby areas. They were displaced and they were not having anything for surviving because the dam was a government program, and due to which they were removed from the nearby areas. So they were not having anything, not having anything for surviving, not food, not home. They were homeless, they were foodless, they were jobless, and they were having nothing. Some of the displaced people settled around the reservoirs and apart from their majors farm found a livelihood in fishing. So the reservoirs, the large type of the pond were there where they now located themselves, and they were having a small type of land where they have to do all the work for their livelihood, whether it is growing crops, vegetable, fruits, or making their small homes. So they were having a major part of land where they have to survive. Then in 1994, the government gave the right for fishing in the Tawa Reservoir to private contractors. See students, after dislocated from their own areas, the people, those were living near around the Tawa Reservoir, now after a government order, they were out from that reservoir and the private contractor has to be do fishing on that area. So the fishing was only the earning source for the people those were living near the Tawa Reservoir. Now that was also snatched by them. So then these contractors drove the local people away and got cheap labor from outside. Even the contractor, those were the private contractors, what they have done, the people those were earlier doing the fishing on the Tawa Reservoir, now they sent out from that reservoir, and the business persons bought some cheap labors from the outside. So now the income source was now totally gone out in the hand of the people of the Tawa Reservoir. Now the contractors began to threaten the villagers who did not want to leave by bringing in handlooms. The villagers stood united and decided that it was time to set up an organization and do something to protect their rights. As the people of the Tawa Matsya Sangh, they knows their rights, so they fought against that private contractors, and then they asked to government to the reservoir of Tawa back. So what was the result of that? The newly formed Tawa Matsya Sangh or TMS organized rallies and a chakka jam, means a kind of strike of the roadblock, demanding their rights to continue fishing for their livelihood, as they were not having any livelihood and they can't move out from that areas because they were inhabited on that area. So they asked their livelihood back. In response to their protest, the government created a committee to assess the issues. Now a committee was fixed by the government to check out on that issues and what is the issue. Now it was clarified by that committee, and then after that the committee recommended that fishing rights be granted to the villagers for their livelihood, because the private companies are already having a lots of money for survive, but the people of the nearby areas of Tawa Reservoir were not having any other livelihood. It was decided by committee to give them all rights in the Tawa reservoirs. Now, the people displaced by the Tawa Dam the fishing rights for the reservoirs. A 5-year lease agreement was signed 2 months later. On January 2nd, 1997, people from 33 villages of Tawa started the new year with the first catch. Now they were having right to catch the fish on the Tawa reservoir, and they are having now the livelihood for surviving in that condition. Now, with the TMS taking over the fish workers, they were able to increase their economical condition because they got the right on the Tawa reservoir. Students, here we have seen in the story of Tawa Matsya Sangh that if the people want to do something in the favor of them, so they are free and they are having right in a democratic country to fight against the exploitation and the rules and regulation which are not in their favor. So it has been done by the Tawa Matsya Sangh, and they fight back against the government rule, and then they got the right on the Tawa reservoir. It is one struggle only. In the book, we have studied a lots of struggle of the different people. In the different chapter, we have seen a fight against the right of equality. So, what is right to equality and what are the other things in that chapter? Because it is the conclusion of whole book. This chapter is the conclusion of whole book. So, let's see our next topic, that is the Indian Constitution as a living document. Students, as the chapter is started, all the chapters, or we can say the starting of the book was from the chapter on equality, and we have seen the inequality in every chapter. So what can be the conclusion of these all chapters? So let's see. Students, as you can see in your book, here a poem is there, which is the right to know. In that poem, the poet has given, which is written by Vinay Mahajan, and he has given many type of dreams in which he is asking about many type of rights. He is talking about many type of rights, because the human, those are not belonging from the mainstream society, or the people, those are having the different type of cultural activities, or those are minorities or marginalized. They always discriminated by the majority society. So as our country is a democratic country, so everybody is having every kind of right. So the foundation of all movements for justice and the inspiration for all the poetry and songs on equality is the recognition that all peoples are equal. So if you have seen all the poems from starting, these all are talking that every person is equal. No one can be discriminated on the basis of their gender, on the basis of their social status, on the basis of their caste, creed, religion. No color discrimination or racialism should be there. So, the poetries which we have seen against the exploitation and against the, we can say, in the favor of the rights of human equality, these all are having a source, that is equality. It is saying that everyone is equal in our society. No one can be discriminated. As you know, the Indian Constitution recognizes the equality of all persons. Movement and struggles for equality in India continuously refer to the Indian Constitution to make their point about equality and justice for all. The fish workers in the Tawa Matsya Sangh hope that the provision of the Constitution will become a reality through their participation in this movement. Students, yes, that is the correct thing. the government has provided us many type of rights. We are having duties as well as fundamental rights. Even we are having more rights against the exploitation and many type of amendment done by the government. If any crime has happened, then also many laws for the justice. So if we are not aware about our fundamental rights, so we can't fight back against the inequality. So we know we are having right to equality. Inequality means not in only equal manner. Even everybody is having right to life, right to have the safe drinking water, the safe food. Even everybody is having all type of right. If the rights can be prescribed for one person in the different manner and for the another person in the different manner, so it is inequality. Whether the person is rich or poor, whether the person in the two different religion, the democracy says the rights are equal whether the person is belonging from anywhere, from any caste, from any gender, from any creed, or from any religion. No discrimination should be there against them, and they all are having equal right. Those are the natives of our country. So the whole chapter is talking about inequality. The chapters in this book in 7th class, we have seen they are talking about the different type of inequality in our society. After making the constitution and laws, still in many fields inequalities are there. So to remove these inequality, we should follow an equal manner through which we can remove the inequality, and there should be an equality in all people, among all the people, and it is for all the people. Friends, here we have seen that the people, those are the big business person, or those are having a good standard, or those are in the majority. They always discriminating to the people, those are minorities, or those are poor people, or we can say the people those are not in the mainstream society. So to prevent them from any kind of discrimination, our government is giving them some right. The struggle which has been done by the people, it was a true core struggle, because they were violated, they were discriminated, and they were aware about their right. Students, here one thing is that if you will see anybody is discriminated and violated by anyone, so now you are aware about our rights. You can also fight back against these kind of exploitation, these kind of discrimination, and whatever the things which are not going on the way of legally, you can also fight back. So here our chapter as well as book is completed. Now we will continue our SST chapters with the revisions. So for the next video, there will be revision of SST chapters. So for that, keep watching SST Zone.